While all the headlines are screaming about the crazy price swings of Bitcoin and Ethereum, there's a much, much bigger story unfolding, kind of quietly, in the background. It's happening in the plumbing of global finance, and it's changing how businesses move money all over the world. So, today, we're going to dig into that under-the-radar shift, the rise of stablecoins as the new frontier for business-to-business payments. Let's just kick things off with one single massive number, 211%. That is the year-over-year explosion in global stablecoin settlement volumes as of this past March. This isn't just, steady growth. It's a shockwave. It's telling us that something really fundamental is changing in the financial world. And the big question is, why? Okay, so first things first, let's unpack this incredible surge. Why is this happening right now, of all times? What's the fuel behind this massive, massive adoption, especially when we're talking about big business and finance? Well, according to Anton Lovincev over at SquareFi, the answer really boils down to one word: legitimacy. See, this isn't some random spike. The main driver here is that big institutions and, maybe more importantly, regulators are finally starting to recognize stablecoins as a serious, legitimate way to settle payments. They're graduating from this niche crypto thing to a core financial tool. And this newfound legitimacy, it's really being built on two powerful pillars. On one side, you have governments finally moving from just being confused or uncertain to actually creating formal rules. That gives businesses the confidence they need to get involved. And on the other side, you have the payment giants, the big guys, expanding their pilot programs. That's a huge signal that this is moving from a niche experiment to a mainstream integration. The whole system is just maturing, and it's happening fast. But to really truly understand this shift, we have to look a little closer, because not all stablecoin use is the same, not by a long shot. In fact, what we're seeing is this really clear split between how everyday people are using them versus how large businesses are. It's like a tale of two completely different users. On one hand, yeah, you've got the classic retail use case, smaller, frequent transactions like sending a few bucks to a friend or paying for something online. But the real story, the one that's driving that massive growth we saw, is what's happening on the business side. We're talking high-value, cross-border settlements, international payroll, even corporate treasury management. This is crypto growing up and putting on a business suit. Okay, so if we're basically building a whole new financial system from the ground up, we have to ask the big question: who's in charge? Who actually controls it? Let's take a look at the dominant players who are building the plumbing for this new digital economy. And when it comes to payment volume, wow, the data could not be clearer. This is Tether's world, and we're all just living in it. USDT commands a massive 62% of the market share. That's more than double its closest competitor. In the world of stablecoin payments, Tether is the undisputed king. So what's the secret sauce here? How did they get so dominant? Well, it's really a powerful combination of a few key things. First, Tether offers incredibly deep liquidity, which just means you can move huge amounts of money without messing up the price. It also has a massive first-mover advantage, and maybe most importantly, it's deeply, deeply integrated into the core infrastructure of the entire crypto ecosystem. It's just built in everywhere. Now, where is all this activity actually happening? Which digital highways are these transactions traveling on? Well, the data shows a leader that might actually surprise a lot of you. It's not Ethereum. It's the Tron blockchain, which now handles about a third of all these settlement volumes. For a long time, Tron had this reputation as just being the cheap network, but that's a really outdated way to look at it now. Its dominance today is a classic case of a powerful network effect. It managed to attract a huge number of users and a ton of Tether supply early on, and that momentum just keeps building on itself. So with this kind of explosive growth, it's pretty easy to assume that a total takeover is inevitable, right? That stablecoins are just going to steamroll the old system. But the reality is a lot more complicated. There are still some really significant barriers to adoption. So what's actually holding them back from becoming the default for global payments? Two main hurdles really stand in the way. First is just the sheer scale of the system that's already in place. The vast, vast majority of global payments still run on traditional fiat rails, and that is a massive, entrenched infrastructure. Second, while some governments are creating clarity, the global regulatory landscape is still this fragmented patchwork quilt, which makes it super difficult for big multinational companies to adopt these tools everywhere. And to really get a sense of the scale of this challenge, you just have to look at the numbers. For all their incredible growth, stablecoin payments are still just a tiny fraction of the trillions, with a T, of dollars processed by networks like Visa and MasterCard every single year. The traditional financial world is just operating on a whole other level, at least for now. So, with all that in mind, the explosive growth on one side, but still a really long way to go on the other, let's look ahead. Where is all this headed? What does the future of payments really look like? The ultimate takeaway here is this. We are witnessing a fundamental change in how crypto is being used. It's evolving. It's moving from being a speculative asset on the trading floor to being a practical, useful tool in the corporate treasurer's office. And that leaves us with a pretty powerful final question to think about. As this trend continues to accelerate, could we be watching the quiet beginning of a genuine revolution in how money moves around our planet?